Hey internet friends, welcome back. Today I have two videos for you. Last night, Malaya Brooks Murray, who is the mother of Jack and Lilly, spoke out through text with Sunny, the host of It's a Crime and Shame here on YouTube channel. So all credit to her for these messages here. Now I'm going to go read through these and kind of give my opinion, and from what I know from everything else that we have heard and seen from the other text messages from the other family members, we're going to go through those. So stay tuned. So this writing might be a little bit small on your screen. It'll probably be easier for you to blow it up on your desktop to read this. I'm actually reading it off of my desktop while I'm showing it to you. We're starting with 4, as 3 was about, it was about the gentleman that had bought the horse trailer from Malaya's stepfather. And then 2 really didn't have too much into that. So I kind of want to just start with the important stuff. So Malaya writes, I'm just tired of the BS. I'm tired of the lies. Well, we are too. We are tired of the lies and we are tired of the BS, Malaya. What is going on? Where are your children? Okay. Now she continues to write, Daniel is only lying to the media, and I don't know why. He is not lying to the police or CPS. She continues to say, both of our statements to the police are the same, but the media has a completely different story blaming me. I don't know why. Okay, guys, so in my opinion, I believe her and Daniel are still talking. No doubt about that. And it seems like as I read more of these screenshots here, that they're still trying to stick up for one another. Now, if you remember, it seems like there's so much going on Wednesday and then Thursday and then Friday. It's just like there's nothing. I was up for 5 minutes this morning and I could tell you already 6 different things that I've already done. Woke up, made my bed. I got the dog out to the bathroom. I let my chickens out, and I do have chickens. I let them out because it's hot. They need to come out of their coop. I fed the cat. Okay. And I got something to drink. That's already like 6 different things that I've done in the morning. There's nothing like this. The morning children went missing. Now, the only thing that we have from Friday morning is what Janie told us. And I'm not going to play Janie's messages again. I think it's all burned into our brains by now. And I'm not kidding. Like, I literally listened to Janie's messages so much last week that I was having nightmares of her voice in my head while I was sleeping. So we're not going to play that. So if you remember, Janie said she got up, she sent a text to her brother, and then that was around 6:24. Then she went out, let the chickens out at 7. Then she came in, she played on Temu and then Facebook, dozed off. There's a lot of dozing off with these people. Malaya even mentions dozing off. What the hell? It's like, did they have a gas leak at their home? Like something making them like doze off so much? I don't know. But, okay, guys, let's get started with the rest of this. Now, Malaya continues to say, according to what I've heard, he apparently likes the attention, and it's disgusting. She's speaking of Daniel. Now, Sunny continues to write, do you believe your children are alive, correct? Is this because your psychic friend said, or you feel they are? And she says, no, because I want them to be. How could any mother think any way else? Well, you do remember she said in her first interview that it's sorrow. And you remember that in a mother's heart, you always think the worst. But that's not true. So she's right there contradicting. No, because I want them to be. How could a mother think any way else? Because you said in a mother's heart, you always think the worst. I don't know, guys. Let's go to the next one. Now, I've kind of cropped off what Sunny wrote because I want you to see what Malaya has written here. But Malaya comes out and says, talking about Daniel, she says, his true colors have unfortunately come out in the worst way. It's like I never knew who he really was. Well, that's not true either. And I will explain that here in a minute because she has lived with him for 3 years, okay? And when we continue reading, she found out he was using meth or rugs, basically, right the night that she gave birth to Meadow. So that doesn't make sense to me. And then Sunny had asked her a question, and she says, no, I can't see Daniel hurting the children. But that doesn't make sense, because we remember what her stepfather said, Wade. And I'm just going to call her her stepfather. It's easier that way. I know it's the mother's boyfriend. But we remember what Wade said. And then we remember what Durwood said. He was relaying what Patty was thinking with the black eyes, and then with Lily getting black eyes on Wednesday, 2 days before the children went missing. Come on. Do you think Malaya gave them the black eyes? I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, so then she continues to say, Daniel, Janie, and Darren's timelines don't match up in the media, but that is not what is being said to the police. That is why their lies are okay. You can't get in trouble to lying to the media. Why would all these people lie to the media, but tell a completely different story to the police? I don't buy that. Do you know how hard it is to lie, period? You have a small so a lie is a tangled web around bits and pieces of truth, okay? And it's very hard to keep with a lie, especially if there's a bunch of people involved in it, all right? They all have to play their part out. In my opinion, she's saying that because she knows that different stories are being said from different people. So that's a cop-out, in my opinion. And then Malaya goes on to say, I'm so grateful and appreciative for the support and love for Jack and Lily. I can't express that enough. My children are my everything. That is all I want, is for my children to be found. Well, now, we don't know what she's doing behind the scenes, okay? We don't know what she's doing behind the scenes, if she's working with police or whatnot. But I don't know, guys. There's just too much left out still. We already know this, basically. We've already known this. Malaya is not telling us anything differently than what we've already found out from the rest of the family members. Now, on number 6, it says, Malaya continues to say, that's all I want, is for my children to be found. And then Sunny asked her, I would love to put out a true timeline. No BS, just a true timeline for Jack and Lily. And I do want to say that I sent Malaya a message. I've sent her a few messages. I sent her the timeline yesterday. And I said, Malaya, I would like you to look at this timeline that me and a friend have done. Can you please look over it and tell me if everything looks correct or incorrect? Now, I know she read it because it says delivered in the message. So the other ones that I have sent, the other messages, didn't say delivered. So I know she read this message. Now, I really wish that the timeline would be filled out. I just feel like something's missing still. So anyways, Malaya says, good question. I do not know. That is what the police want to find out. So Sunny asks, I would love to put out a true timeline. No BS, just a true timeline for Jack and Lily. Malaya replies, good question. I do not know. That is what the police want to find out. Of course they want to find out, because none of these stories from you guys make sense. Fucking fart froze. Now Malaya continues to say, I heard the kids in the morning. Yes, Daniel was sleeping beside me the entire time, from 6:18 to around 9:40 a.m. when I woke him up because I no longer heard them in the bedroom. That is the best estimate I can give at the moment, because I was in and out of sleep, dozing off. There's that word, dozing off that morning. I then called the police at 10:01 a.m. Okay? Now, that has everything completely off. Now, she writes, they're in their bedroom next to us. I wasn't aware they went outside, as Janie said. So, okay. Now, yesterday I put up a video saying I believe the kids had disappeared if they disappeared between 8:50 or 8:51ish to 9 a.m. So by this timeline with Malaya, then it would make that she wouldn't even be outside where Janie heard her. So things are just not making sense. Okay, guys, I don't want this video to be so long, so I'm going to go ahead and add the next one, which would be number 7. Okay, we're going to get started with number 7. I really wish I knew how to do lives. I just don't have the equipment to do it, so I can show you what I'm reading. But let's get started with number 7. It says, in the morning, Lilly and Jack got out a couple times, but I would always get a call from Janie saying the kids were outside. So I don't know if she's talking about that morning, because she says in the morning, Lilly and Jack got out a couple times, but I would always get a call from Janie saying the kids were outside. Remember yesterday's video when I mentioned this? So this is what I was going off of. So supposedly Janie would call, and I kind of see that happening, because it sounds like Janie didn't want to be woken up or having her dog bark because the kids were outside, because they were always screaming, remember? And then she says, I would then bring them back to get breakfast. For some reason that morning, I never got the call the kids were outside. I don't know why. She was the last one to hear them. Correct. From our timeline, Janie is the last one to hear them. But lady, your kids are 4 and 6. Why the hell are they going outside? Why are they going outside by themselves? If you woke up at 6 o'clock that morning and checked them out of school, wouldn't you have given them breakfast then? Like, little kids are up that early, okay? My kids, I mean, when they're teenagers, they sleep in, okay? But little kids, they don't usually sleep in. They're up early, they're excited, you know, they want to watch their cartoons and get their day going. And remember, from what we knew, the kids were supposedly going to school. I mean, Lilly, yes, she had a cough, but we weren't told if Lily's cough got better or anything. So Janie, did she know that the kids were out of school again that day? It just doesn't make sense. In my opinion, Friday is a completely fabricated story. That's why it has changed so much. Now, let's continue. Malaya says that she has an app, and it's called School Messenger with a password Daniel doesn't know, and that is how you mark your children absent. And then she continues to say, I marked them absent at 6:18 a.m. My alarm goes off at 6:15 a.m. Okay, this is my question for you, Malaya. So if Daniel doesn't know about this app, how the hell did Daniel have the timestamp from the children being marked out to show Belinda? Remember that? Remember Belinda saying, I saw the timestamp that from on Daniel's phone. So I'm kind of confused at this one here. Okay, let's move on. And then she says they received it at 6:18 a.m., talking about the school. All right, let's move on to number 8. Now, number 8, it's just her basically showing that about the school. Like when she sent screenshots basically of the school when she checked the children out that day. There's 2 of them, 2 kids, checked them both out. So what I'm showing you is the 2 screenshots from the school that day, one for Jack, one for Lilly. You have Lilly Sullivan, then Jack Sullivan to the left, okay? And then it says May 2nd, 6:17 a.m., and then May 2nd, she did Lily's at 6:18 a.m. Remember Durwood talking about that? He said, yes, she checked one of the kids out at 6:17, the other at 6:18. That's where that time came from. So, like I said, from my previous videos, I don't think Durwood is just basically, he's relaying what he was told. Okay, let's go on to number 9. Now, in number 9, Malaya says, I want the awareness to continue. I want the BS speculations to stop. It's running the investigations and blowing up the tip line with unnecessary BS that the investigators have to follow up every tip, no matter how ridiculous. So right here, basically, it sounds like she is in contact with the RCMP, with the investigators. Now, she maybe has the liaison from the RCMP is reaching out to her or a family member, and that's how she's getting this information from the tip line. So because she's probably hearing every single tip that comes in and they're following up with it. Now, I'm not going to give my opinion on the tip line because this video is already really long. We're going to keep going on. Now she says, well, I will not apologize for being silent for so long. I have been through a lot, and I'm still going through more than anyone could imagine. I don't really care what people are saying, to be honest. I only care about getting my children back home. Okay. And then she continues to say, I don't know why Daniel lied, but my family never knew the blanket was in the garbage. So she's speaking about the blanket. God. And then she continues to say, nor did they know Lily's blanket existed, especially my friends. Like, yeah, I see what she's saying here. How the hell would her friends and family know about the blanket? I mean, yeah, they can kind of take it as a guess. There's a pink blanket. It might belong to Lilly, but I don't know. And then she continues to say, Daniel gave me an ultimatum when I was pregnant with Meadow to drop my friends or he would leave me. He said they were a bad influence, so I did. He allowed me to talk to one friend, but we didn't talk often. She writes, yes, I want my babies found as soon as possible. I want them home. I need them. I'm desperate. Okay, so I'm skipping over a couple of them, guys, because it talks about the fundraiser and stuff like that. I don't want anything to do with that. But this right here, I'm just going to show you a clip of it. It's the geotracking. So basically, Malaya uploaded her whereabouts. This was the day before. Supposedly on Thursday, she went to go get blood work done. And this is the map here. Can't make it any bigger because then you guys won't see the entire map. So we're going to go on to number 15. Okay, the way this one is formatted, I'm just going to have to read it out to you, okay? Basically, Sunny asked, if you don't mind, I'd like to ask you or clear up a few questions. She asked Malaya about a big argument on Thursday that continued till you got home and you got into a physical altercation. Malaya says no. And then about the Daniel in the bathroom with the rugs, and Malaya replies, yes, he is a rug addict. I found out he was doing them the night before I was going to be induced with Meadow. He was not making or selling that I know of when I met him. I had no idea of his rug use. Okay, so, but Meadow is almost 2 years old. And then Sunny goes on to say, is Daniel narcissistic? From your messages to Belinda, you do not seem happy. And Malaya says, yes, Daniel is a narcissist, and he's very controlling, unfortunately. No, Belinda did not control me. However, she did know her son Cody was cheating on me with multiple women and never told me. Okay, well, in my opinion, that's not Belinda's, place to tell you if Cody's cheating, but whatever. I think from all of Daniel's videos and stuff, we can kind of tell he's a narcissist or has some type of control issues. Anyways, so it continues. Janie, well, this is Sunny. Janie, did she like the children? She's asking, did Janie like the children? She comes across like they were a thorn in her arse. She said that she had 0 pictures. She said you barely spoke to her. Was her words a bunch of BS? Malaya continues to say, as far as she led on, she never had a problem with the children. She continues to say she did treat them a bit different than her grandchildren. I was baffled when she said she found them annoying. Yes, her words are BS. I would speak to her and give her sympathy when she would come over and talk about her medical issues and the Temu orders she would receive. I was not a mean person. Dang, everybody in Temu in this family. Temu and dozing off. I'll tell you what, that's some crazy stuff right there. Then Malaya goes on to say she was worried her dog would get out and bite someone. This was the day the police came. The police searched her trailer about 3 times that I'm aware of. So right there, that's telling me that her dog would bite. And it sounded like from our video yesterday and the day before that the dog would bite Lilly when she would do her little squealing, okay? That tells me the dog is aggressive, in my opinion. All right, let's move to 16. All right, 16 says, yes, Daniel was very controlling, even to the point to what I wore. And I believe her here because I was in a situation like that before. We'll have a story time about that one day, but it was not good. And then she continues to say yes and no. He would pick on Jack and Lilly mostly, and basically pick on Jack more so, and sometimes Lilly. Pick on like black eye pick on? Is that what she's saying? And then she continued to say he would hold me down and take my phone away so I couldn't call my mother when I wanted to leave. This happened often. I believe Malaya when she says this. I'm telling you, sounds like the same person that I used to date. And then Malaya continues to say, he only shoved me into a wall once, then realized what he did and he apologized. Wow. All right, guys, this is the last one. Malaya states, Daniel convinced me to stay, that things would work out. He always said that. I just want to put my 2 cents in here. Now, I was in a relationship like this. Now, it didn't involve rugs, but I dated somebody that was very controlling, and I had to get my children out of the house one night. Now, it seems like Malaya is more of a meek person than I am. I'm a kind of, if you're crazy, I'm getting the hell out of town. You know what I mean? Not putting up with that. But it seemed like she stayed. And now this can mean a lot of things. Maybe, she was definitely afraid of leaving. Maybe she was doing rugs with him and knew that he controlled that. She would never be able to get them anymore unless she was with him. He was her link to that. So that's really sad. It's just really sad. And then she continues to say, I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm just giving you a short summary of what I went through. But Malaya, you can get up and leave, though. You know what I mean? You can get up, call 911, leave. I don't know. And I feel sorry for her that she had to go through that. But there's always 3 sides to the story, guys. There's his story, her story, and what actually happened. And that is what we're trying to find out, is the what actually happened story. Now that Malaya is talking, basically she's only given us what we have already known. You know what I mean? We've heard about all of this, the abuse and stuff like that. We've heard it already. So she's not really telling us anything new. Abuse that's usually how it happens, the taking the phone, it's sad. But let me continue. Malaya continues to say, I feel you have more than enough. I really want people to start focusing on helping to find my babies and not focus on all these lies. My babies are out there and I need them home. But we're keeping their faces out there. It doesn't matter if you're talking about a case, they're keeping their faces out there. That's what you want, is awareness. Doesn't matter if it's on the internet or on somebody holding a sign on the street. It's keeping their faces out there. Now, Malaya, are you out there doing stuff for your children? We haven't heard anything. She hasn't said, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm working with investigators. Nothing. Like, I just go back to another case I remember. It's like, these parents, they want us to do everything for them. But what are you doing? That's my question. Okay, and then to continue, basically, she doesn't say really anything else. She just says that her children, Jack and Lilly, they called him dad. Yes, they called him dad. Past tense. So, but she believes that they're still alive. Okay, guys, this is a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry about the formatting. I'm only able to do so much on my screen here to show you. But let me know what you think below. I want to hear from you. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I enjoy reading your comments. Have a great day.